I wanted to meditate. And to contemplate the meaning of this long time I've been around. I felt the need to place myself far away from everything, except a part of the land I connect with in a deeply personal way. Even though I grew up in Texas among the mesquites and prickly pears, it's always been the land in New Mexico that called out to me. So I left my comfy home and verdant yard and headed for truth. And if not truth, then consequences. I would end up putting almost 3,600 miles on the old white spaceship. I took a leisurely 5 days to drive across a good portion of America, some of it along the famous old Route 66. I witnessed the well-known ruin of many small towns due to the demise of Route 66 when Interstate 40 was built. Here we are in Arkansas, about 35 miles in from the western border, toward which we're headed. In the background, you see my spaceship. And we just have stopped for lunch here at a lovely roadside park. I'll do a quick scan around the park. You can see it. As we come around, you start seeing the traffic from the highway. The quiet desolation of these towns largely set the tone for my journey. Too much left. Tucumcari, and that is the mountain that I'm about to go drive up. You can see I-40 between me and the mountain. Kind of the view from my balcony, isn't it beautiful? To find El Centro de Nojuero, the name I gave to the spot in the desert I was seeking, I needed only to cross the Rio Grande from where I stayed in Truth or Consequences and walk out into the desert. I drove a good ways out on a dirt road to make sure I was really near Nojuero, then stopped and simply walked off into the chaparral until I found El Centro. While in this magical place, and it was truly magical, I found 4 stones, each of which was energized, I felt, by a different aspect of the personal truth I was seeking. The gray stone reminded me of my age, the long time and many experiences, the accumulated wisdom that I have no choice but to trust. But this rock is also run through with white stripes of confusion that signify the mistakes I'll never be able to correct. Kind of a stretch to call it green, greenish. This stone tells me I am and always will be one person, the person I have always been, the person I was born to be, the parts of my mother and my father that were chosen to live on in me, chosen not by me, but by the creative force itself. The black stone reminds me of all I cannot see, that in the vastness of the unseen exists possibility, and everything we can imagine, and everything that is, even though we cannot imagine it. The red stone speaks of the creative force that lives both inside of us and outside us. It's the force inside of life and outside life, everywhere and always, the reason for everything. I also broke off a piece of dead wood from the creosote bush, which always has dead branches among its new living ones. As the dead part of the living bush, this stick is to remind me of the pathway from death to life and back to death again. The beings who have not yet lived and those who once lived, all are part of the creative force and the realities we see and those we don't see. All are part of the very individuality we perceive as the I, or me. The life that was and the life that is yet to be are no less part of this reality than those like us who live now. The Rio Grande ran cool and green along the bottom of the desert. It was a good place to stay, sleep, eat, and even contemplate. But to reach the inner truth I was after, I knew I had to walk way out into the chaparral. Where the creosote bush bends in the desert wind.